You're listening to the Study Legal English podcast, the world's first legal English podcast, helping lawyers and law students become fluent in legal English. Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Study Legal English podcast. I am your host Louise, and over the next few shows, I'll be talking to you about networking in English. I'll be covering everything from how to prepare for an event, topics of small talk and business talk, and following up with phone calls, emails, and meetings. In the last episode, we covered general small talk, topics such as travel, interests, and news. And in today's episode, we'll be looking specifically at small talk on the all-important topic of your career. So, let's get started. Talking about your career is a natural step to move on to business talk. But before you get on to this, it's good if you can try to find out as much as possible about the person you are talking to. Remember, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And if you jump straight into business talk, you're missing out on some crucial information which can form the basis of a strong and long-lasting relationship. Therefore, you should cover a bit of small talk first. However, very often people do jump straight in with two questions. Firstly, what's your name? And secondly, what do you do? The first question is pretty straightforward. You've certainly got problems if you get that one wrong. The second question, however, the what do you do question, is a bit more tricky and incredibly important because this is the first opportunity for you to be able to show the person you are talking to how you may be able to help them. It is also an opportunity for you to ask about their work and find out what problems you could potentially solve. It is therefore a wasted opportunity if you don't answer it well. The two most common mistakes people often make when answering this question are, firstly, being unclear and waffling, and secondly, saying what you are and not what you do. Let's take a look at these mistakes. You're asked what you do and you respond with, I'm not sure how to explain it in English. I think I should say a lawyer, or maybe in English it's a barrister or solicitor. I don't know exactly. It's so confusing. Yes, probably a lawyer. And yes, I do the things that lawyers do, basically. Firstly, this answer is very unclear. If you can't explain your job properly, the person is unlikely to be impressed, and this is not going to win you any clients. Secondly, the second problem is answering the question, what are you, for example, and simply responding, I'm a lawyer. What do you do is a very different question and another way of saying, how can you help me? Being able to express clearly and concisely exactly what you do and how you can help a potential client is beneficial for you because you will appear clear, confident, and capable of doing a whole range of more challenging tasks. It is also beneficial for the person you are talking to, as they don't have to second guess what you are saying. Remember, their first language might not be English, and so if you are clear, you're making their life easier too, which they will be very thankful for. If you tell them what you do, they can easily understand how you might be able to help them. So, the response to what you do should be short and simple. However, As Albert Einstein said, everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. And so it is a tricky balancing act, but one which is very important to get right. So that's what we'll be looking at in today's episode. Let's move now to the dialogue. In today's episode, we'll be hearing again from John, the lawyer at MMBR law firm, and Rachel, a guest he meets at the real estate law conference. In the dialogues, you'll hear the kind of vocabulary typical in small talk on the topic of career at a networking event. Take note of how John and Rachel respond to the question, "What do you do?" and how they keep the conversation going. As you listen, try to answer the following questions. Number 1. What does John head up? Number 2. What's the name of Rachel's company? And number 3. Where is Rachel developing outside of the UK? First, we'll hear the dialogue at a slow pace.
So what do you do?
I'm a partner at the MMBR law firm in London, and also I head up the real estate lawyers group. It's a small association of lawyers that meet to discuss developments in real estate, write articles, and some of us do some teaching at a university. What about you? Are you a lawyer as well?
No, I'm not a lawyer. I'm the co-director of Prime Property, a real estate development, construction and acquisition firm. We're based in London and we're slowly branching into developments outside the UK.
That's interesting. Are you busy this year? And what about the impact that Brexit's having?
Well, things are going well in the UK, but times are a bit uncertain for us. It's really not great for what's happening abroad.
Oh, I can imagine. What exactly is the problem?
Well, we specialise in the construction of holiday homes to expats. So, as I mentioned before, we're seeing a significant drop in investment. In fact, it's not good at all.
Could you tell me a bit more about it? Whereabouts are you developing outside of the UK?
Well, it's actually mostly in the Algarve in Portugal.
Great, so John and Rachel's answers were short and simple. However, they weren't perfect. Let's look at what John said.
I'm a partner at the MMBR law firm in London, and also I head up the real estate lawyers group. It's a small association of lawyers that meet to discuss developments in real estate, write articles, and some of us do some teaching at a university.
John answered the question, "What are you?" He said, "I'm a lawyer at MMBR law firm, and I head up the real estate lawyers group." He explained what the group does, but he missed out some very important points, namely explaining who he helps and how. Remember, what a person is really asking you when they say, "What do you do?" is, "How can you help me?" A good way to structure your answer to "What do you do?" is to include the following 3 points. Firstly, what's your position? Secondly, who do you help? And thirdly, how do you help them? Based on this, let's think about what John could have said to improve his response.
I'm a partner at the MMBR law firm in London, which specialises in real estate law. I help property developers in all legal matters relating to the acquisition and development of real estate, both in the UK and Europe.
He could have gone on to say,
I'm also the president of the Real Estate Lawyers Group. This is a small association of lawyers that meet to discuss real estate law developments. The group helps us to ensure that we really are absolutely up to date on all real estate legal matters. This means that we're in the best position to help our clients. As part of our service, we keep clients informed with legal developments through a regular free newsletter which gives tips and small pieces of advice.
By saying this, Rachel would automatically be in a better position of understanding John's work, and also could clearly see John's professionalism and how he could help her. A much better answer. So, now that we've listened and discussed the dialogue, let's take a look at some of the vocabulary. First, you'll hear the vocabulary. There will then be a beep and a short pause for you to repeat the vocabulary. This is followed by the definition. And then we'll hear an example sentence from the dialogue, followed by another example of using the vocabulary. Then there'll be a beep and a short pause for you to repeat the new phrase. Number 1. Partner. A partner in a law firm refers to senior lawyers who are responsible for generating a firm's revenue. Partners may be salaried or non-equity partners who do not share in the profits, or they may be equity partners who do take a share in the profits. John said,
I'm a partner at the MMBR law firm in London.
Repeat after the beep. You need to gain extensive experience as an associate before you are eligible for promotion to partner. Number 2. To head up. To head up can mean a number of things. For example, to go towards a place which is normally up a hill. For example, I'm heading up to the bank soon. Do you want a lift? You should distinguish it from the noun, the heads up, which means the information about something. For example, John gave Brian the heads up about the event, meaning that John informed Brian about the event. In this situation, however, it means to be the head or the leader of an organization. John said,
And also I head up the real estate lawyers group.
Repeat after the beep. When I was at university, I headed up the debating society. Number 3. Co-director. A co-director is a person who directs with another person. The prefix co is used in many words, for example, co-chair, co-decision, and comes from the Latin prefix co, meaning together, mutually, or jointly. Rachel said,
I'm the co-director of prime property.
Repeat after the beep. After the two companies merged, the two directors of the separate companies became co-directors. Number 4. Branching into or branching out. Rachel stated branching into, but the phrasal verb used is often branching out into. It means to do something that is related to what you have done in the past, but that now takes you in a new direction. Rachel said,
And we're slowly branching into developments outside the UK.
Repeat after the beep. My client has traditionally focused on construction services, but now they're expanding and branching out into other areas of property development. Now, let's practice what we've learnt about how to answer the question, "What do you do?" In the following short sequence, I will begin. There will then be a beep and a short pause for you to respond with an appropriate response. Remember to answer the question, "What do you do?" with your position, who you help, and how. I will also ask some other questions related to your career. So, what do you do? Sorry, I don't quite understand. Could you explain a bit further, please? How do you do that? What's your typical day like? What clients do you work with? Well done. Now let's take a look at those questions. Question 1. What does John head up? John said,
And also, I head up the real estate lawyers group.
so John heads up, or likely he is the president of the real estate lawyers group. Question 2. What's the name of Rachel's company? Rachel said,
I'm the co-director of Prime Property.
so Rachel's company is called Prime Property. Question 3. Where is Rachel developing outside of the UK? Rachel said,
Well, it's actually mostly in the Algarve in Portugal.
so Rachel is developing in the Algarve. So now let's listen to all the dialogue again at a more natural speed.
Oh, so what do you do?
I'm a partner at the MMBR law firm in London, and also I head up the real estate lawyers group. It's a small association of lawyers that meet to discuss developments in real estate, write articles, and some of us do some teaching at a university. What about you? Are you a lawyer as well?
No, I'm not a lawyer. I'm the co-director of Prime Property, a real estate development, construction and acquisition firm. We're based in London and we're slowly branching into developments outside the UK.
That's interesting. Are you busy this year? And what about the impact that Brexit's having?
Well, things are going well in the UK, but times are a bit uncertain for us. It's really not great for what's happening abroad.
Oh, I can imagine. What exactly is the problem?
Well, we specialise in the construction of holiday homes to expats. So, as I mentioned before, we're seeing a significant drop in investment. In fact, it's not good at all.
Could you tell me a bit more about it? Whereabouts are you developing outside of the UK?
Well, it's actually mostly in the Algarve in Portugal.
So now, just a final recap about how to answer the question, "What do you do?" Remember those 3 points. Answer with your position, who you help, and how you help them. Be clear, concise, and keep your message simple and short and not overly technical. Be prepared to talk further and in more detail, and have some success stories of how you've helped clients in the past ready to tell if you need to. So, that's the end of today's episode. We've covered small talk in the area of your career to use at a networking event or conference. In the next episode, we'll be covering business talk. For more practice, Podcast Pro members can access online learning materials, including transcripts of the shows and quizzes to test your knowledge. If you're not a member yet, you can sign up for a free trial at www.studylegalenglish.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with others. And if you have any feedback or topic requests, I would love to hear from you. You can get in touch by email info@studylegalenglish.com or on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for listening and see you next time.